There's this thing in cold email that I feel like people just don't talk about, and I think it's time to address it. That thing is testing. I see a lot of companies create one campaign, they have one lead list, and then they launch it, and they're like, okay, fingers crossed. But there's so much more that goes into it. And the tricky part is that it hasn't always been like that. Doing cold email in 2023, for example, or in 2022 was a lot different than it is right now in September 2024 that I'm recording this. Now, why it has changed so much is because Google and Outlook are continuously pushing out different updates, making it very hard for people to actually reach the inbox. So now, when a new person comes to the world of cold email and they test out one campaign and one lead list, and they're like, okay, I got this, like this copy is, good enough, good to go. And then they launch the campaign and they're like, but why like a week later, like why am I not getting results? And there's just like something that I wanted to address because I think that a lot of people, especially now in like the second half of 2024, people come into the world of cold email with a lot of false expectations. um, and I think that the expectations were not false a year ago, or they would have been really applicable even like in the beginning of 2024. But right now, because the world has changed so much, then I hate to break it to you, but you cannot expect a certain number of leads with your first campaign ever. Even if you have the best agency in the world doing this for you, just because the world of cold email has changed so much that it it is a numbers game. Right now, when you're starting off your cold email journey in 2024, September, October, November, whenever you're watching this, um, it is very important to make sure that you're testing out different things, especially when you're very serious about this. So, for example, getting enough domains and email accounts to be able to test in a very large scale. Let's say that you're running a company, you're running an agency, and you kind of have a little bit more budget to actually invest in doing cold email internally for your own company. Then it is very important to kind of spread everything that you're doing. So, for example, not keeping everything on one platform, but kind of spreading it out. So, having some campaigns on Instantly, some on Smartly, some on Quickmail. And it is a very, it's a lot to ask, right? But at the same time, I am coming from a place where I continuously see companies, even right now. So, for example, my clients enter the cold email market and they get amazing results, regardless of the massive changes that have happened over the past few months or over the past year. But this is because they're testing a lot, or we are testing a lot for them. So, currently, just for context, for our agency, we use 3 or 4 different platforms for all of our clients. We have different domain providers. We have different email address providers, resellers, or we just buy it directly. Just because the world of cold email is changing so incredibly fast right now, then that what worked for you yesterday might not work for you tomorrow, but it might continue working for you the next week. So this is why it's super important to, not just in terms of the copy, but also like the backend systems that you have set up. It's so, so, so important to um, have it kind of spread out, that you're maximizing the possibility of whatever you're doing, that it continues to work continuously. And this is what I mean by that it's a numbers game. Um, and also, now when we get into the copy part, what worked incredibly well for us a year ago does not generate any leads for us today in a lot of cases. For some clients, yes, but for a lot of clients, it does not. Just because, first of all, the way the spam checkers in Google, let's say, are set up are different from what they were before. So being like very open, when I started in the world of cold email, I was not using any spam checkers ever. I was just like, yeah, I had heard that these things existed, but I'm like, yeah, like that's not important. And I had clients generating, 80 to 90 to 100 leads per week. And I wasn't running my copy through any, spam checker. Right now, no campaign ever goes out before we run it through several spam checkers, just because that means that we're maximizing the possibility for the client to actually get leads from the campaign and for the campaign to perform well. It's awesome to have one campaign with one awesome copy, but then always test on the side, because the attention span of people right now is incredibly different from what it used to be, especially when it comes to cold email. So when you have a lot of different copies that you're testing out at the same time from the get-go, like from the second that you start, that just means that you have more chances of actually hitting off with your cold email efforts. Most people who have been in the world of cold email for a while, they know the basics, right? So they know what it takes to have these systems set up, and like what you need, like for example, that you like what domain providers to use, what email providers to use, um, what the copy should look like. It's like a lot of these big names or smaller names who really don't know the world of cold email, they're not combining all of these things because they're stuck in the year of 2023 um, where one thing worked amazingly, so they were just like, yeah, we're going to launch one campaign for you, we're going to do like one lead list, and then it's going to generate magic, which it did, which it does not in most cases anymore. So here's just some context for you. I hope that it kind of helps you build your own successful journey in the cold email world right now, because I still wholeheartedly believe that cold outreach is the best way to generate leads, even in 2024. It's just you have to be a lot smarter